Hello and welcome to the Quarterback Film Room. We're going to talk about the playoff picture in both the NFC and AFC here heading into week number 12. There's 5 games left for every single team in the league. So there's no more bye weeks hanging on the horizon. Everybody's got 5 more games. So we're going to start out in the NFC, and it's just loaded with teams that are fighting and competing for a select number of playoff spots. There's only 6 spots, okay? So there's the 4 division winners that automatically get in, and then you got the 2 wild cards. And in the NFC, starting out in the NFC North, we've got the Vikings who are in the driver's seat to win that division, possibly secure a first-round bye. Okay, so the Vikings are sitting at 9-2. They got that victory over Detroit here on Thanksgiving Day. So Detroit is still hanging in. They're still in the picture, but they have an uphill battle at this juncture. With Green Bay losing to Pittsburgh, they're, for all intents and purposes, are out of the playoff picture. Now, not mathematically, of course. Say the Packers win 5 straight here to end the year, they could find themselves in the playoffs. Okay, but that's probably the only way that they end up even having a shot to get in. So, obviously, the Bears are out of the playoff picture. So, moving to the NFC South. Now, this is just a loaded division. So we've got Atlanta, Carolina, and New Orleans. Okay, all legitimate playoff contenders. Now, the Saints went to LA. They went to the Coliseum this last Sunday, lost to the Rams. So the Saints now have 3 losses on the year. So they're now basically competing with the Vikings, it looks like, for that number 2 spot. And if the Vikings keep doing their job, the Saints will end up hosting a wild card game against a team. So the Saints, the Falcons, the Panthers, all in a position to make the playoffs. So right there, we see that's already 5 teams, okay, who are really fighting. Now the Lions are on the outside looking in, sort of. And then in the NFC East, we've got obviously the Eagles, who are going to be locked in at that number 1 seed unless they lose a game or 2 here down the stretch. The Eagles have to travel to the Coliseum to play the Rams, and then they have to go to Seattle as well. So 2 tough games, but that Eagles defense is maybe the best in the league, if not the second best behind the Vikings. But those 2 defenses are legit. And then we go to the NFC West. So we've got obviously the Rams, okay, and then we've got Seattle, and then we've got Arizona, who's just hanging on by a thread. So literally, there are like 10 teams competing for 6 wildcard spots, 10 solid football teams as well. So, but let's just break the playoff picture rankings down 1 through 6 here as they stand today. So we got Philly at number 1, we got the Vikings at number 2, we've got LA Rams at number 3 right now, and then we got the Saints at number 4. So, and those are going to be the teams that host. Okay, so all of the division winners. Okay, so we're going to have the Saints hosting a wild card. We're going to have the Rams hosting a wild card. Then those 2 other teams that sneak in, maybe it's the Seattle Seahawks and the Atlanta Falcons. But then if that happens, look who's left out. Carolina, Detroit. So there's some solid teams that could definitely be left out of this playoff picture. The NFC is hyper competitive this season. So, it's a lot more competitive than the AFC. So we've got those teams fighting for spots. Don't be surprised if maybe the Lions sneak in somehow. Maybe Stafford recaptures some of his 2016 fourth quarter comeback magic and the Lions sneak in. Who knows? But right now, maybe 3 teams from the AFC South get it. The NFC South. Now, when we go to the AFC, it's a little bit more cut and dry. So we got New England and Pittsburgh as the first round byes there, and that's probably going to hold up. And then other than that, in the AFC North, we've got the Ravens, who are now 6-5. Okay, so they're in a position to maybe secure one of those last wild card spots. Okay, 5 or 6. And then you've got, the Cincinnati Bengals, who are just fighting to keep their head above water at like 4-6 or something right now. So you've got those 2. And then if we go to the AFC South, they got the Titans, who are in the driver's seat at 7-4. Jacksonville's also 7-4 there. So we got 2 teams down there in a prime position. AFC East, we got the Patriots, obviously, and then the Buffalo Bills, and that's it, because the Jets and Dolphins have shot themselves in the foot with recent losses. So we got the the Bills, who are now looking to make a push too. So they could easily sneak in. I do kind of think the Bills will get into the playoffs somehow, even though they started Nate Peterman in week 10. And then if we go to the AFC West, we've got an interesting story developing out west. The San Diego Chargers, they started out the year 0-4. They're now 5-6, and Phillip Rivers is playing as well as he's ever played in recent memory. Maybe throughout his entire career. He threw for like 460 yards and 4 touchdowns against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. So Rivers is really feeling it. He's really throwing the ball well. And I mean, he's really playing at a high level right now. So if the Chargers do somehow get into the playoffs as a wild card, they could make a deep playoff run. I mean, they could win that wild card game. They could win that second round game, and they can find themselves in an AFC title game against the Patriots at New England. But they're going to have to sneak in because the AFC West now, Kansas City is free falling. They're at 6-5, and then we got the Raiders there at 5-6. So I mean, the Chargers are going to probably have to win out in order to get in. 9-7 might work if a lot of the dominoes fall in their favor. But so when we go 1-6, we've got New England, we got Pittsburgh, we've got probably Tennessee at that third spot right now. Jacksonville at number. So Jacksonville would have to be the 5th seed because they're in the same division. So it'll be New England, Pittsburgh, Tennessee, and then the AFC West division winner. So we're hoping it's San Diego because I would love to see Rivers back in the playoffs. So that's going to probably be San Diego. Maybe it ends up being Oakland at that number 4 wild card spot. So they'll end up hosting a wild card game. And then behind that, we've got Jacksonville at number 5. And then at the 6th seed, maybe the Buffalo Bills sneak in, or maybe the Baltimore Ravens sneak in.